My name is Camilla, and I'm 33 years old, and I'm a knitwear designer behind the brand Vise Knit. I'm living in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and I started out knitting others designs for 6 years ago or so. But I missed some adults knitwear designs, which were timeless and still have some edge, or yeah, if you can say so. So I started to design last year, design my own knitting patterns.
Okay, and you said you started 6 years ago with knitting.
Yeah.
What did attract you to start to knit?
I think it is the simplicity about it actually that get me started. I love that you only actually had to get 2 needles and some yarns, and then off you go. Actually, it's the imagination that can just get you all the way through a pattern, through an idea, and I love that. There's no limit, I think, and the thing that you can create, something you can use afterwards. I think that's very nice, and I think in our culture and in this time, I think I've needed that.
And how did you learn it? Did you took a course, or did you learn it in school, or perhaps from your mother or grandmother?
Yeah, actually, the first time I was knitting, it was when I was 7 years old. We had to knit a teddy bear in the school, and the teddy bear wasn't that pretty, but I made it, and I was very proud. Then there was a lot of years where I didn't knit that much. My grandma did knit all the time. Every time we were visiting her, she was just knitting socks all the time. And every Christmas Eve, when you get a present for her, it was very soft, and it was always some lovely socks. I really appreciate it now when I know how much time knitting takes. Yeah. But 6 years ago, I was pregnant with my first child, and that was where I started knitting for real, or yeah, if you can say so. And I started with some very, very simple pattern, and I had some friend who also knit, who also expected a child, so we sat there and do some knitting, and also YouTube, actually. If I was in doubt of something, that's a good way actually to start understanding some techniques.
What was something you did because you couldn't find nice clothing in the store, or did you want to do something which give relaxation as well?
Yeah, I think both actually. First of all, because when I had a little one and everything sometimes was chaos, I think that the knitting part was exactly one way to just relax and just do that. And I think, yeah, definitely it was also that there was very attractive to me in the first years, actually. When I sit every night at home and just knit it.
And when you start to knit, was it also the time that you start to your Instagram profile, or was that later on, or how did you come acquainted with Instagram?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I would say I had a private profile on Instagram before, but yeah, one year or so, from 1 year ago, I think I made another one because I think it was difficult to just navigate, and I think those people who follow me privately didn't want to see my knitting things. Maybe they were getting a bit tired of it. So I was getting a new profile, and that was also the time where I was thinking all these ideas I have in my head. I need to try them, and I need to all those designs I couldn't find anywhere. I need to try to make it myself. I just keep on going to have some new ideas, and I really love it, and I think it's very fun. Also, yeah.
And where do you get your inspiration from? Do you go, well, now everything is closed, but normally you would visit the store, or would you sit on a terrace and watch people go by, or do you go on Pinterest to look for things, or look in old magazines, for instance? How do you get your inspiration?
Yeah, I definitely get my inspiration to just go out, exactly like you said, in a normal world, to see other people, also nature actually. I don't know, sometimes the ideas just is there. It could also be at night when I is going to sleep. I just have to scratch something down in my notebook. And I also really love to combine fashion or knitting fashion, or what do you call it? I don't know, but that part into some functionality. I did make some neck warmer because I really love, I want to have a neck warmer last winter. And then at the start of this winter, I was thinking, I didn't want a neck warmer who was just over the head and over the head again, and my makeup was just all the way or gone. And my hair was just like everywhere. So I thought maybe I could combine some functionality where I could just open it and lock it while it is here, so I don't have to make it all through the head. And that's why I actually can just quick show it here. I made this one, and that is a Jovial neck warmer, who is closed and opened in the back with some of those, and then and that's kind of fun, I think, to make something. I also think it's classic and got some edge, but still it solves some problem, and it has a functionality, and not all of my designs is like that, but I think it's quite fun that you also can do that.
It's quite fun to knit, you say, and actually it's innovative as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are these patterns in multiple languages available, or only in Danish?
Actually, all my patterns is in Danish and Norwegian and German and English.
Okay.
And that's very important for me, actually. You have to stop somewhere. You could just get all the language if you want to, but I think I have to start somewhere, and I think it's including a lot of people. I hope so.
The largest group who downloads your patterns, is that from Scandinavia, or more from England or from France?
As it is now, I can see it is a little bit more and a half from the north of the Europe, and the rest is from all around the world, actually, but primarily in Germany and French and England.
And if you have to describe your own style, how would you describe it? Where will people know you from? From what is your signature touch?
I would say that my style is very classic and elegant, and also have some graphic twists sometimes. You can say that. And is definitely also inspired by the Nordic and modern fashion. That edge I'm talking about, that could be maybe in this sweater I have on here. The sleeves here have some details, and I think sometimes the edge is in the design, so you can see it and it is clear, you can see it. But sometimes it's also a nerdy technique, something that I just figure it out, or I think it's just the right way to do it that way, just here in that pattern, because it makes sense and it's fun, and I am really trying to explain it, so I hope everyone can understand it. That's very, very important for me also, actually, to meet people, so they are not thinking, oh my God, this is just the difficult pattern ever. I do a lot of time to try to make this pattern, every pattern's available for people. And sometimes I also have some videos, actually.
Okay.
Along the pattern you can click on, and then you go on YouTube, and then you can see the technique. It is in Danish, but you can see it, and you can read it on that language you are comfortable with on the side. And that's very important for me, actually, it is a package where I can try to hold you in the hands all the way through, and you can be successful and make the designs finished.
So all your patterns are actually for beginner, intermediate and advanced knitters?
Yeah, it is for both, actually. Yeah, I would say so. I have a Solom sweater who is that there is multiple choices along the knitting pattern. As if you are a brand new knitter, you can make this part easier. If you are advanced, you can make that way and get some more techniques, nerdy details with it. But it is actually the same sweater, and it's only the advanced and me who can see the difference. Yeah, it's not all the patterns in that way, but it's very important for me that there also is patterns like this. Yeah.
It's very interesting to see that you have like one pattern but with two different knitting instructions, and then you can choose by yourself which way to go. It's something that I haven't heard of before. It's very interesting, I believe. Yeah. And with the tutorials included, it's also very good to learn some new techniques. I think it's a very good way to learn new techniques, and don't be scared of wanting to knit a sweater if you haven't done it before. Are your designs mostly knitted top down, or are they also knitted flat, that you have to sew in all the threads, or what do you do the most?
I think it's a Nordic maybe trend at the moment to knit top down. I have tried to do the other way around once, but actually, yeah, but all my patterns and everything I knit right now is top down, actually. And I think why it is that I have, for example, very long arms, and my upper body is also very tall, very long, and in stores and everything where I can buy some clothes, I have always it is always hard to find some clothes that is just perfect length. So here you can just try it on while you're knitting, and you can make it a little bit longer, so it just match perfect for your body. And I think that is actually what I'm really love about that technique, or that way to do it, because I think it's a little bit harder the other way around. But yeah, also I just tried once, so I'm not an expert in that way. I also think really it is a trend here in the North. Yeah.
I also believe it's easier to knit top down, because you said you tried it once, but it's easier to knit top down.
I think so. Yeah, for me, I think it's more easier. Yeah, it's something you have to try, and then you can feel. Yeah, was that easier for me, or yeah?
For instance, I wanted to start to knit a sweater. What would you recommend me to do? To start with top down knitting, or to start with more basic techniques with knitting flat? What do you recommend me?
I think I would recommend you to choose a very easy pattern, but also a pattern that make you feel you want to do this. Because the first pattern I started to knit to my little child was very boring. I think it was very boring. For me, I have to want to have that finish knitwear, if you understand. I want to get it finished so I can wear it, so she could wear it. I think you need to have some motivation. I needed that for it to be finished, because if it's just one way and the other way, I think it's not that motivating. So I will definitely. There's a lot of patterns, and also in my website there is those I have explained for you, and who is very easy to go on, and there is some helping videos. And
do you have also some exciting news to share with us? Some new designs who are coming, or maybe perhaps some collaborations, or?
There is a lot of things going on here in Visit this year, and I'm so excited about all the things. That thing I can say something about. There's also something I can't say. Sorry, but that is a new design I have. Actually, I have thinking about it in half a year or so, because I made a sweater that is called Generous Sweater, with some big sleeves and some other way to increase. And I finally is getting there to make a cardigan with the same kind of look, but also very different, and also with some buttons that is made in Denmark, actually. I think it's quite cool, actually. I am really looking forward to show you all that on my Instagram and Facebook, and everywhere I can show it.
No, very good. Is there also something you want to do in the future to learn a new technique, or?
Actually, I try to learn some new techniques while every time I make a new pattern, because I think it's motivate me, and it's kind of fun always to get better and learn some new things. So definitely, I don't know, especially maybe some laces. I have think about that in some summer. Lace top. I don't know, but I have a lot of ideas, and I think it's soon time to think of that. Let's see how it ends. But I think it ends good. I hope so.
Is there also a yarn that is your favorite, or a yarn that you still want to try out?
There is so much yarn to choose. That's a very hard question. But I think if I have to choose, I always think that merino and some lace or some silk mohair is a very good combi. Cashmere I've also tried a little bit, but I think maybe I should try some more of it, because that is softer than soft. You know that. So I think I have to try to make something in that also.
Well, Pamela, I want to thank you for the great interview we had.
You so much.
We love to see more of you in the future.